Welcome back to MyLifeWalk.com. This is your brother, your friend Brian, and I do count it a joy, as always, to be here with you and share with you what God has shared with me. He has truly been a blessing to me, and that's why I make the declaration every day that this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. I'm not worried about what things look like. I'm not worried about how I'm feeling. I'm not worried about the random thoughts going on in my head. I declare that I will be happy. I will rejoice in this day, because truly this is all I have right now, because tomorrow is not promised to me. So I will rejoice in this moment. I will appreciate this time, because God has done so many good things for me. And if he doesn't do anything else, he's done enough. Enough for me to rejoice and praise him for all that he has done. All right, so let's get right into it. Today's topic or title is In the Time of Peace, Prepare for the Storm. All right? Because we have a tendency, when things are going good, we just cruising. Yeah, that's what we do. When things are going good, I don't have to worry about nothing. But when things are going good, the enemy is aware that things are going good, and he wants to stop that. As Lucifer said to Christ about Job, he says, "Oh, of course he's going to praise you. Look at all he's got. You got your hedge of protection around him. If you take everything he has, he'll curse you to your face." So in this time of peace, everything's good. It's all good. But when that storm hits, are you prepared for that? See, Job was prepared. He was committed. Everything he had, he gave thanks to God for it. He worshiped God. So in that storm, he was prepared. Even then, when the people around him told, "Hey man, just curse God and die. What did you do?" But he had prepared himself in his mindset, in his walk with God. He knew the blessings of God. He when he was going through the storm, he remembered all that God had done for him. Even though he lost it all, he remembered what God had done for him. And so there was no way that he could curse God so that he could die. Because his trust was in God through his storm. Through everything that he suffered through, losing everything, losing his children. So when you're in that time of peace, when everything is good, you ought to be preparing for when that storm comes. Girding yourself with the understanding and the thought that, you know what, all this is wonderful. I love being in this space. But even if I'm not in this space where things are starting to turn sour, I'm going to remember this space. Because God has been good to me. He has shown me his love. He has shared his love with me. So when things go bad, what do I have to complain about? When things are just taken away and you're in that space, you feel like you don't have anything left. Remember how you got it in the first place, and it was because of his love. So in that time of peace, these are the things that we have to do. We have to become stronger in our faith. We have to be in his word when things are good, because it's the same. When we are feeling good and things are going good, we get a little laxed. we don't put as much energy into it. You know, it's like it takes the pain for us to remember how good God is to us. Then we start crying and we want Him to help us, and rightfully so. I mean, that's the nature of man. But like Job, see, he didn't whine about being in that situation. He didn't wallow in the loss and the pain. He stood on the promises of God, that none of this stuff really belongs to us. It's all God's anyway. And because we believe that He loves us the way He loves us, even if it's all gone, even if you're suffering in the painfulness of where you are, you have got to know it's all right. It's in God's plan that I'm going to come out of this. We can't focus on the storm. We have a tendency to, while we're in the storm, to focus on the storm. But there's no way to come out of a storm when you're focused on the storm. No way. If you're depressed, you can't come out of depression focused on the depression. And sometimes we have to give it another name. That depression, call it joy. Because the definition of joy is totally opposite to depression. Instead of calling it hectic, call it peace. Give it another name. You've heard me say this over and over again. Change the way you think about that thing. Look at it a different way. And you'll find peace and you'll find joy, even when you feel depressed, even when things are hectic. Change the way you think about that thing. So in your time of peace where everything is going good, gird yourself in the love of God and understanding that in this life we will have trials and tribulations. That is what His word says. It's coming. But how you deal with it, how you deal with that storm when it comes, that's what we're preparing for. In the times of peace, we need to be preparing for the tribulations and the trials that's going to come. Because if we don't, it'll hit us harder and we won't have anything to grab onto. And we may even tend to suffer longer than what we need to. So in your time of peace, prepare for your storm. Gird yourself up with the thought and the mindset that all this goodness that God has given me, He can take it away. But you know what? He can give it right back to me again. Because that's His promise. That, He will not withhold any good thing from us. But at the same time, He does tell us we are going to face some tough times. So I'm here to tell you today that God's got a blessing and for you with your name on it. And that's a beautiful thing. But that understanding of that blessing and where you are right now, understand. Don't wallow in the glory and bask in the goodness of the peace alone. You have to prepare yourself for the storm and the tribulation that's coming out behind it, because the enemy doesn't want you basking in the glory of your blessings. So he's going to try to trip you up. So we put so much energy into feeling good and being at that place of everything's good that we don't do the work. And I'll use this analogy. As a baseball player, even though we weren't in the tension of a game We had practice. And the practice was where we can laugh and joke, but sharpen our skills at the same time. So we're preparing for the game, because you can't practice in the game. Once you're in the game and you're in a moment, you have to be prepared. So take this piece as practice to prepare for when the trials and tribulations come. See, Job did that, and he was prepared. He prepared his mind and his heart to be able to deal with the pain and the suffering that came his way, even though he didn't know it was coming. We never know when the pain is coming, when the storm is coming. But we need to prepare. And just like any natural storm, if you live in Florida, well, you need to prepare before the storm warnings start hitting. When things are good and the sun is shining bright and it's a beautiful day, you better make sure you got those wood panels, you know. Make sure your storm windows are in. So we have to prepare in the time of peace for the storm that's coming. So that's all I got for you today. I hope and pray that something I share with you encourages you to prepare yourself in this time of peace for the storm that is coming. Because I don't want you to have to linger in that storm too long. I want you to make it through that storm. But you got to prepare for the storm. All right? Well, just know that I love you. And most importantly, God loves you. And you have a blessed day. A fabulous day. And until next time.